'Twas the night before Christmas.
So tell us the date.
Today is December 29th, 2007.
Yeah, that's right.
So tell us where and when you were born.
I was born in Springfield, Vermont, February 16th, 1942, at the Springfield Hospital.
And when did you move from there?
Well, when I was a child, we moved several places every few months, it seemed like to me. But I started kindergarten in Keysville, New York, where my grandma lived.
Yeah. Do you remember kindergarten?
Yeah, I cried, and my sister Donna had to take me home. And she was mad, and she kicked me in the leg all the way home. And I didn't go back till January.
Why?
Because I cried too much. I was a sissy, I guess.
How many kids were in your class?
I don't remember. I don't even remember the teacher.
So who was there in school with you? Lorraine, Aunt Lorraine?
Aunt Donna.
No, I mean Aunt Lorraine, and they all went to Keysville, no?
Yes, Aunt Lorraine, Aunt Donna, Uncle Herb, Uncle Alan, and me.
Why did you move to Keysville? Because your grandmother was there?
Yeah, and I guess so that, I want to say that my aunt babysat, or my grandmother babysat while my mother cleaned houses.
So who was, she cleaned houses?
Yes.
And what did Grandpa work at?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, but I know he worked, but I don't know what he did.
So after Keysville, where'd you move to?
Merle, New York, for about a month. It was an old farmhouse, and my only remembrance of that is that I had to brush my teeth with baking soda and spit it out over the railing.
Why did you move to Merle, New York?
I don't know.
And when did you move? Where did you move after that?
Standish, New York,
How long were you there for?
from 1st to 3rd grade.
And do you remember growing up there?
Yes, I do.
Was there a lot of snow?
Yes, and the house was always cold. It was old and they didn't have insulation in those days. I don't think they used to use. I remember they used to put newspaper on the wall and then wallpaper over it to keep the heat in. And I had this dog, Jenny. She was half shepherd and half collie. She was a beautiful dog. And when we moved to Ellenville, my parents said they gave her away, but really they had our neighbor shoot her. That upset us terribly.
Why did they shoot
And we
her?
never knew until we were in Ellenville.
Really?
Very upsetting. But I remember when my uncle came to get us to take us to the train station in Standish to move to Ellenville. We all got in the car and we said, goodbye trees, goodbye flowers, goodbye house, goodbye animals.
And you were in 3rd grade?
Yes. Christmas time.
A lot of snow?
I remember I peeked under the bed and knew I was getting a dollhouse too, but don't tell anybody.
So what was it, do you remember, what was it like growing up with your siblings?
Well, I got picked on, I think, by my 2 brothers a lot. My grandmother used to make
Older
us,
brothers?
one older and one younger.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother used to, my mother or my grandmother, I can't remember. I want to say my mother sent us up for a nap every day, and my brother Alan would say, Alice Jane, go tell Ma we want to get up. So I had to go downstairs and say, Alan said we want to go get up. He used to get so mad at me because I didn't say it was my idea. But she said, get back up there. So we had to go back for our nap. What else you want to know? And whenever anybody got in trouble, it was usually me, and my father put me in the cellar.
Not in
and Pete
Standish,
in
though.
Keysville, and Pete and I'm just trying to remember certain things. And Pete and Alan used to go na 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 and throw stones out the window.
Why'd you get in trouble?
I don't remember.
What'd you do?
I don't know. If we were all doing something like throwing stones or something, they'd all say, she did it, and my father believed him. It was 2 against 1 after all.
Ah.
And I remember my brother Pete had a broken leg and they gave him a wheelchair. And we used to live up on top of this big hill. And Alan was wheeling him down and he let go of the wheelchair. True story.
And what happened?
Got in trouble.
Did Uncle Pete get hurt?
No, he laughed. He thought it was funny. He stopped it with the foot of his cast.
Oh, jeez. And what,
I remember I'm trying to remember certain things because, you know, when you're my age, you don't remember certain things. But I remember my sister Lorraine lost her ring, a birthstone ring, by my grandma's swing. And she made me look for it. And I never did find it. And I remember my grandmother used to watch Alan and Edith, my cousin, and me. And she used to make us do chores and eat this disgusting porridge in the morning. And she was to make me dust mop the whole house, and she said to Edith one day, it's your turn to do it. And Edith said, okay, so she dust mopped it, flip-flop, and my grandmother said, I can't believe it, Alice Jane is younger than you and she does a better job. That's the best feeling I ever had in my life. And when my grandma died when I was 4, I think, they wouldn't let me go see her die. They did. They had her laid out in the living room at her house and they wouldn't let me go. And it made me very, very mad.
who's Edith?
My cousin. I don't remember my grandfather. I don't remember my father's father either. But I remember my father's mother, my grandma, Sadie Williams. Sarah, Sadie.
So then you moved to Ellenville when you were in 3rd grade?
Yes.
In the
And
summer?
I never,
In the winter?
Christmas time, I told you.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas vacation. We all went on the train from Plattsburgh to Beacon, New York, which was across the Hudson River. And then we had to take a taxi to Ellenville.
A taxi.
Yep, with all of us in it.
Why did you move to Ellenville?
Because my father got a job there at the reservoir, Roundout Reservoir, I think it was. Because, see, when we lived in Standish, he worked at the iron ore factory, and then that closed down. So we moved to Ellenville.
Mm-hmm.
And,
You had upstairs bedroom.
no, not then. We lived in a hotel for a year.
Oh.
In an apartment called the Mitchell House. It's not there anymore. But it was scary. It was creepy black halls and it was really scary. My mother was a waitress in the dining room. And then we rented a house, an apartment on Ann Street. And then we bought a house on Center Street when I was in 7th or 8th grade, I don't know which one. We never had TV till I was a junior in high school.
So why do you think if everyone had no money then, you had a house? And nowadays it's hard for people to get houses.
My father got a veteran's loan. It was only like $8,700. But in those days it was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that figure for some reason. I don't know why.
So then you have the upstairs bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you share the bedroom with?
Where?
So you go up the stairs.
Where? On Center Street?
And there's a bedroom on the right, and then there's a bathroom on the left, and 2 bedrooms. Which was your bedroom?
The one on the right by the bathroom. Well, not when we first moved there. We first moved there. Alan and Pete had a bedroom by themselves. Lorraine, Donna, and me Alan and Herb had a bedroom by themselves, and Lorraine and Donna and me had one, and Pete had his own room, and my mother was downstairs. My mother and father had a bedroom downstairs.
I don't remember a bedroom downstairs.
Yeah, it was. Then they broke the wall and enlarged the kitchen later on in years.
Oh. So, do you ever remember working in Ellenville?
Of course, I always worked.
At the movie theater, you said.
Yeah, but I was a mother's helper first for Rosenstocks. They were very nice.
What'd you do?
Watch the kids while the mother slept, or snoozed, or shopped, or whatever.
Was school easy for you, or hard?
Very easy for me.
What subject did you like the best?
English.
What subject did you hate?
social studies.
Why?
Because I couldn't remember. I wasn't interested in the wars and all that stuff in the other countries. I couldn't figure out why we had to study about the other countries when we didn't really know enough about our own.
Did you ever remember getting yelled at or hit by your mother or father? Disciplined?
Oh, my father used to shake us. My mother once hit me. I was a senior in high school on the back with a hairbrush because I let my brother's dog out by mistake. That's the only time I ever remember.
Which brother?
My brother Herb.
Where was he living?
Peru, Indiana.
Why?
Because he was in the Air Force.
Oh. So were you the fifth one out of the house? Everyone moved out?
No, I got married before Uncle Alan did.
So Uncle Alan lived at home.
No, he was in college. Then after he came back from college, yeah, he lived with my parents while he was teaching in Ellenville. Then when he got married, they got their own apartment.
So then Aunt Lorraine was married first.
Yep.
To Uncle Ray. And then who was married?
Aunt Donna was married in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And then Uncle Herb and I was their maid of honor. And then me, and then Alan, and then Peter.
So after high school, what did you do in the summer? Work?
After high school,
Mm-hmm. When you graduate high school.
I worked for the telephone company.
As an operator?
Mm-hmm. And then I went to nursing school in September in Bellevue in New York City.
Did you have to apply and get, you got accepted and all that kind of stuff?
Yes. It's very hard to get in and harder to get out, but I quit.
How long did you last there?
What do you mean last? I quit because I wanted to.
Why?
I had great marks because this favorite patient of mine died of cancer, and I couldn't fathom the idea of this happening to my patients all the time. I couldn't take it.
So 6 months you were there?
Mm-hmm. Probie period.
And you worked in the hospital?
Yes, 3 days a week.
And you studied
Very hard.
biology and all that, no?
Psychology, biology, anatomy.
You said you used to give the homeless people the louse baths.
Yep. When they came into the hospital, before they could be given or taken to a room, most of them had to be deloused.
Mm-hmm.
You used a very strong stuff to comb out of their hair and give them a bath and stuff. It was awful. I wasn't used to that stuff.
So then you quit, and where did you do?
I worked at the knife company in the payroll department.
Were you embarrassed to tell your parents that you were quitting
No.
school? Were they upset?
Probably.
So you worked in
My father, I don't think, cared one way or the other, but my mother was upset.
Why?
Well, because she really wanted me to be a nurse and to succeed, I guess. Because she wanted to be a nurse, and she had to quit because she got married. So that's why I wanted to be a nurse, because she wanted to be a nurse and couldn't, so I wanted to be one for her, but I didn't.
And when did how did you meet your first husband?
I was
What was his
introduced by a
name?
mutual friend. She's not a friend anymore, though. Yes, she is.
Who was the friend?
Jeannie
Where did he grow up?
Monticello.
Oh, so how did she know him? You went to school with her?
Yes, I
High
did.
school?
Yes, since 3rd grade. He was friends with her husband.
Oh. And when did you get married? What date?
August 26, 1961.
And where did you live?
Well, the first couple of years we lived with his parents, and I was separated from him about 4 times. It got to be too much for me, the
Why?
lifestyle. Because he drank a lot and he ran around. One time I caught him in the driveway and with a woman, and he wasn't a very nice person. He was very cruel to me.
Who was your maid of honor?
Aunt Lorraine, but I wouldn't let her be for my second one.
Who was your ring bearer and all that kind of stuff?
We didn't have that. I only
Flower
had,
girl?
No, I only had.
Did you get married at a church or a
Yeah.
judge?
in the house by a minister.
Was Grandma there and Grandpa?
Yep.
So,
And Aunt Hazel and Uncle Ernie and, you know.
so then you had Keith in
I
when?
had Keith in 1965.
Mm-hmm. And where was he born?
Hamilton Avenue Hospital, Monticello.
And who was at his birth?
At
Did-
his birth?
Did anyone come, like, to visit at the hospital?
Yeah, my mother and my father. Oh, visit me or before I had him? My Aunt Hazel was with me,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a terrible experience because I started to hemorrhage and I didn't have much of a blood pressure and I almost died, so they had to take me down to the operating room for an emergency operation. And the doctor couldn't knock me out, so I felt the whole thing. Dr. Becker.
Why?
And then when they went to take me back up to my room, the elevator broke, so I had to stay downstairs in the recovery room for 2 days. I'll never forget that.
In
And I
Monticello?
had to get 13 pints of blood transfusion, yes. Hamilton Avenue.
Do you know what blood type you are?
Nope.
You don't?
No, I don't. I think it's B+. I'm not sure. I have to get it typed.
So then
And then,
you got separated or divorced?
well, at first you get separated.
And where did you live when you were separated?
On Dingle Daisy Road in Monticello.
Yeah.
When Keith was 4, 1969.
So where were you working?
Schmidt's Wholesale.
So who took care of Keith?
That's a very sore subject, but it was his grandmother.
Why was that a sore subject?
Because she wasn't a very nice person.
Why?
She just always took from me and never gave, you know. And she spoiled Keith, and she said, "You don't want to go home with her. You're going to stay here with me," and that kind of sour stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So when did you get divorced?
1969, May 5th.
And then you got married when?
In July
Yeah.
19th, 1970.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a honeymoon?
Well, we went to Atlantic City for 2 days, and we didn't have reservations, so we slept in a terrible, dirty motel. Remember, Ruby? But it was in the summertime, and everything was taken, so we didn't realize.
Where'd you get married?
Uncle Lenny's house.
And who wedded you?
Judge
Married
Fisk.
you.
Judge Fisk.
And who was in your party?
What party?
Wedding party.
Aunt Donna was I told you I wouldn't let Aunt Lorraine be it. Aunt Donna was my maid of honor, and Uncle Joe was Dad's maid of honor.
Mm-hmm. And
Best man. Best
What'd I say?
man, maid of honor.
Oh, best man. That's sort of like him saying congratulations, Bonnie and Gary.
did you,
Judy and Randy's wedding. Whoops.
so,
And to this day, we've been married 37 years and 5 months.
so were you, nervous to meet the girls the first time? Bonnie and Judy?
No.
Did you get along with them?
Yeah.
Did they see their mother at all?
Well, their mother was able to take them once a week, but sometimes she just didn't show up.
Why not?
She didn't have too much responsibility, I guess. I don't know why. I'm not her. She's dead now, so I can't ask her.
So where were you working when you first got married?
I didn't.
No?
Nope.
You didn't work at all?
Nope.
When did you start working?
When you went to kindergarten.
So you didn't work for like 6 years?
4.
Wow. And where'd you work when I went to kindergarten?
I worked part-time at the nursing home in the office, and then I became the manager, which I hated. And then I had to quit because Dad bought Giroux, and I went to work there.
So when, let's see, what else? Were you ever in the hospital for
Many
anything?
times.
For what kind of thing?
tonsil and adenoid removal, appendix removal.
How old were you when you had appendix?
Flu one time, pneumonia, huh?
How old were you when you had appendix?
14.
Oh.
I had just been
You had
on
them
the chair.
out?
Had my appendix removed. They were
I didn't know that.
It was abscessed. And I had a cyst on my ovary which was burst.
What does that mean? When would that happen?
When I had my appendix out.
And did you ever have heart problems?
Heart problems?
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time I had what was called sinus arrhythmia, when your heart beats irregularly, so they put me on quinine, quinidine, and then it was all right.
And then, do you remember when I was born?
Yes, I do.
And what hospital was that?
Ellenville Hospital in Ellenville, New York.
And why did you go to Ellenville?
You want to know you're the only one that wasn't born in Sullivan County in the whole family. Even in Vermont, where I was born, it was called Sullivan County. It's the truth.
Why in Ellenville?
Because my doctor also had an office in Ellenville. One in Monticello and one in Ellenville, and they wanted me to switch back and forth in case I went into labor. I would know which way to go. And when I went to the hospital, to the doctor for my exam that day, he wouldn't let me go back home because I was in labor and I didn't know it.
Why didn't you know it?
I didn't have any pain.
So who took you to the hospital?
Dad?
And who was at the hospital?
Oh, Grandma, Aunt Lorraine, and her tribe of I don't know how many people she brought down. Cece and who was
Really?
there? Who was there, Ruby? I just guess Aunt Lorraine and Cece, was it? I don't know, but she was screaming and yelling, I heard, because the cord was wrapped around your neck. Right? Did you see that? Did she? Yeah, she went to the nursery and saw it. Anyhow, that's that.
Why was she screaming and yelling?
She was upset.
Yeah. So how long did you stay there? When did you take me home? 3 days?
I had you
2
on
days?
a Wednesday and I went home Sunday.
That's a long time.
Well, they had to watch me because with Keith I hemorrhaged and they didn't want the same thing to happen this time. I wasn't supposed to have you. See, you're a miracle. Right? Am I right or wrong, Ruby?
Yes.
The Dr. Becker, only way he would let me get pregnant is if I went to see him every week, and if I didn't have an appointment, he called me every week.
So I was a planned pregnancy. I wasn't a mistake.
Yeah, you were not a mistake. I didn't have any mistakes.
And why did,
Well, of course, Skippy didn't want me to get pregnant, but...
I lost my train of thought.
Who was at my hospital, you said?
Yeah, but,
We took you
oh,
home.
I know. When,
Want me to tell you something funny about the day I took you
Sure.
home? My friend Gail decided she would make...
Gail who?
Gail Belcher.
Who's down here now?
Yes. Decided to make a nice turkey dinner, which was very honorable of her.
For
But
Thanksgiving?
when we started, no, just as a nice dinner, welcoming home. Just as we started eating, guess what we found in the turkey? The giblets. She cooked the turkey with all the guts in it.
Did you eat it?
I didn't. And then when we were having salad, she stood up and put her hand in it and put it in her dish, and I couldn't eat after that. I don't believe in that stuff. I like sanitary things with my meals.
And when was my bris? And who did that?
It was the Sunday after we came home. So you were born on the 3rd, came home on it was the 15th of November.
And who performed that?
Rabbi Eisner from Ellenville,
Why him?
because he's the only one I knew. He's the only rabbi I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And he was Reformed, so he said that he would be honored to do it. So we had over 100 people there.
Wow. Do they
And
give
you
gifts?
you were circumcised on our dining room table.
That's exciting.
Well, I gave you the little yarmulke Grandma
Do they
gave me.
give gifts?
Yeah, lots of them.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And when did Uncle Herb die?
1979.
Really?
Yep,
I thought it was earlier than that.
1979.
Was he sick before then, or he just got sick really quickly?
He died of cirrhosis of the liver.
I know, but was he...
It just got worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
Dad and I were in St. Martin on vacation when he went in a coma, so they called and we came home.
Who called?
I don't know.
I remember I didn't go to the funeral, but everyone else
You
did.
went to Isaac's house.
Mm-hmm. And that big dog knocked me down and hurt me.
Saint Bernard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm?
They had a Saint Bernard.
Right.
So,
Mom and Dad.
if you were very close to Uncle Herb,
Yep.
how come I didn't know him?
Well, what do you mean? How come you didn't know him?
I
You
never,
should have
I
known.
never met him
Yes,
much.
you did.
I never.
We used to go to his house for Christmas.
I don't remember this,
Well, you were very young, so you
but I don't remember it.
He
I have
worked
no
for us-
memories of him.
He worked for us at the Owenville store for
Mm-hmm.
3 years before he died.
Yeah, but I have no memory of it.
Well, you know, at that
And I was
time
like
I
8.
wasn't really close to my family. I don't know why. Everybody had their own things to do and they all went in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
That happens. Same thing with you with your brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Let's see. So, how did Grandpa die?
He had a stroke and he was in the nursing home. No, excuse me, the Veterans Hospital. He died. He had a stroke and he died on Mother's Day, May 12th, 1985.
Mm-hmm. And Grandma and Grandpa were living back together again.
Yep.
When did Grandma move back in with Grandpa?
After Uncle Herb died.
Why did she move back?
Because I guess she felt they ought to be together when, you know, their son died.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember me going to school the first day?
Yep.
I was on the bus, bus
Yep,
number
you-
11.
You couldn't wait.
Why?
Because the older kids always went to school and you had to stay home and you wanted to go too.
Mm-hmm.
I took you to nursery school. I forgot what the name of it was.
Storyland.
That's it. And you loved that. In fact, you used to take flowers to Miss Natalie. I have a picture of you sitting on a box or something because Dad was always late picking you up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Wasn't he?
Yes.
What else do you want to know?
Let's see. I don't know. What else do you want to tell me? Do you remember when I went off to college?
Uh-huh.
Were you sad because I was leaving
Uh-huh.
off to college?
I cried for 2 days when you went to California.
Why?
It's sad. It's a
And
long ways away. Dad drove you cross country and he forgot his blood pressure pills and I tried to get
Oh,
the
yeah.
troopers to find him and they... I had to go to the doctor and have him fax the prescription to CVS or something, right, Ruby?
in Ohio,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We picked it up in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And he flew back.
yes. 3 days
I don't remember.
to drive across. It's hot in here. So, what was your decision to sell the house in Ferndale? And why did you move to a trailer?
Well, actually, Dad wanted to move when you graduated high school in 1989. But Grandma Sylvia was living next to us, and we didn't think that was fair to uproot her because all her friends were there. So we stayed. And then in 1998, we decided to put the house up for sale because Dad still wanted to move to North Carolina. He hated Liberty only because of the weather in the wintertime. And I fell and broke my wrist in 5 places, so he said, that's it, we're going. So I fell on the ice, right? So we put the house up for sale, and it wasn't easy selling houses at that time, so we got an offer, and we took it, and we bought a trailer because they wanted to move right in.
Oh,
we
so that was
just-
only a temporary move?
Yes, it was temporary. It
And-
was from Thanksgiving time until I left for North Carolina the next September. 10 months we lived in that trailer. Well, Dad lived there a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved to North Carolina. And then I moved, and then Dad came down a year later, right? Was it a year later? Yeah. And the funny part of it is everybody thought we were getting a divorce. But we just wanted to move out of there.
What memories do you have of the 4 of us kids growing up?
Playing games,
What kind of games?
board games, and dressing up in funny costumes. Dad always said he never knew what to expect when he came home.
Mm-hmm.
And I yelled too much.
What else?
I don't know, I was always proud of you, all of you.
Do you remember favorite meals that you made us?
I was a terrible cook, that's what Dad used to say.
Well, what
Didn't you,
meals
Ruby?
did you take?
Huh? I wasn't?
I never said that. No, you were a good cook.
He says I'm a good cook. What'd you say?
What meals did you make? I remember sausage and peppers,
Yep. Did you
steak
like
and
that?
peppers with rice,
Yep.
roast beef with
Oh, I
kasha,
forgot about steak and peppers. I gotta make that again.
roast beef with kasha varnishkas,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
chicken parmesan,
Mm-hmm.
baked fish.
Yep.
I don't know.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Every Sunday was roast beef, right?
Yeah, I think that stems
Always
back.
made good meals for all of us.
What?
You always had good meals.
I always made sure we had meat or fish, a starch, potato or macaroni and cheese or kasha, and a vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
Never dessert. Very seldom. Because you kids always had a snack, quote, before you went to bed.
Well, after school we had a snack too.
Right. But we never had desserts. We never really did. Right?
Right?
So how did you know you were getting lung cancer? Like, what were this, like, why did you go to the doctor in the first place?
Because I was very out of breath, and I was making the bed, and I fell on the bed.
What do you mean you
And
fell on the
Dad's-
bed?
I just kind of like,
Because you got out of breath?
yes. And I said to Dad, I can't breathe. And he said, you got to go to the doctor. So I made an appointment. No, I went right to the doctor, didn't we? And he had me go take x-rays. And they wouldn't let me leave, so I knew something was wrong. Because normally they say, I'll send a report to your doctor, they'll
No,
call you.
Everything was okay with the x-rays. When you were out of breath, he sent you back with a CAT scan.
No, not true. I went for the x-rays, and on the way home, Dr. Reddy called my cell phone and said, you need to stop and see me before you go home. So I stopped, and he said, you have fluid in your lungs. I'm going to send you to a pulmonary doctor. He called, he made the appointment, and went to Dr. Crillo the next day. And Dr.
They
Crillo...
took like a liter of fluid out of you.
I went to the doctor, and he said, I need to take your fluid out of your lungs. I said, okay. So he said the next day it has to be. So I went the next day and had the fluid taken out, And he said, I'll call you with the report when I get it. I said, okay. So he called. I went in the day after Memorial Day that year, 2005, right? 2005. Right, 2005. And he took a liter of fluid out, and I went to his office for the report, and he told me that I have cancer. He says, I'm making you an appointment with an oncologist.
Well, what did he say? He just said you have cancer, that's it.
He said, I'm sorry to have to tell you, you have lung cancer.
Mm-hmm. And what was your reaction?
Shock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Was Dad with you?
yes.
And what was your reaction?
Shock.
Because my brother had just died in February from lung cancer, and I never realized that I would get it too. So then I went to the oncologist 8 o'clock the next morning, and he told me that I definitely have lung cancer. I have 2 tumors in my pleura and 4 in my right lung. So I had to start treatment. So I took treatment from May until September, and then I went back, and well, I went to him every month, and I was doing okay, but he made me have a CAT scan the following May, and the tumors came back, grew back, so I had to go for 8 more treatments, which I finished October 17th of 2006. So I've had 13 bouts with chemo.
So
Mhm.
how long did it take you to tell all the kids? Who was the first you told?
I don't remember, but I called everybody. Oh, I think my sister Lorraine,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother Alan, and my sister Donna.
And what would
And
they
then I
say?
said to Dad, what are we going to tell the kids? So then I started calling you one by one.
Mm-hmm. You don't remember who you called first?
No, I really don't. I think Bonnie, because she always has her cell phone at work. Because you guys were all working. I really don't remember.
What was Bonnie's reaction?
She started to cry.
And what was Judy's reaction?
Oh, no, Mom, no.
And what was Keith's reaction?
I think he kind of got really upset
Mm-hmm.
and said, we'll pray about it,
Mm-hmm.
and that you'll be all right. What was Billy's reaction? He had no reaction.
I had no reaction?
You didn't, did you?
I guess so. I don't remember.
See?
Um,
And right now I'm in partial remission.
so how are you feeling?
Tired.
Yeah.
I feel like something's wrong.
Why?
I don't know. Just I'll find out. I have a CAT scan next Tuesday. And the doctor's the following Monday.
Are you scared?
Yep. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid to die. But I don't want any pain. I know that's selfish, but that's how I feel. And I don't want to leave my kids.
So what else?
What else is new? Let's see. My oldest son is graduating in May. My second grandson, Brian.
Grandson, not son.
That's Michael.
You said my son.
My grandson. My grandson, Brian. That's Michael. My grandson, Brian, will be a senior next year. My granddaughter, Kayla, will be a junior next year. My granddaughter, Kristen, will be in the 9th grade next year. And my grandson, RJ, will be in the 8th grade next year. And my granddaughter, Sylvia, will be in the 2nd grade next year.
Well, that's good.
I have 6 grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy and his partner, Bill, are trying to adopt a child, but it's going quite slowly. However, when the time is right, it'll happen. I only hope I'm still here.